Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Grey Mouse channel. As always, we are back on the comic. This is Rat Baby Night. So get comfortable as we sketch away the evening, or morning, depending on where you are. Hey all, I hope you are doing well. There we go. We have another page, and with that we have another series of panels to get done. This page, however, hasn't been finished draft-wise, so I'll need to keep an eye out for that. Ad coming up. I know I have the sound alert for it, and I do just keep telling everyone, but it's fine. Hold on, I haven't checked. Let me just check something. I have a sneaking suspicion that this page, yep, is monochrome. Let me fix that. And then just delete all the secondary stuff. And none of it deleted, because that's not how Clip Studio works. That's kind of something I'm not immensely keen on with Clip Studio, is that it does not translate seamlessly to Procreate, which is fair enough, but I wish it did. I want these lines to be nice and sharp. I try not to go a day without at least practicing or drawing something, and I did draw something today, but I always feel like a little bit weird on days where I haven't drawn anything because I'm coming to the comic completely fresh, and I don't like that because then it kind of is dependent on how I'm feeling, which decides how the comic turns out. Based on this angle, we probably wouldn't see his little notched ear, but I would like to include it. Actually, that being said, we'd probably see his ear come to there. It's all proportional, like proportion stuff, which I usually do kind of, you know, even to this day, still struggle with in some capacity. And with Ratchet's proportions being uniquely difficult, as they're not normal human proportions, they're goblin proportions. I'm gonna struggle with them. It's just how it is. It's just the natural way of things. I'm looking for more of a windswept look for his hair, so that's why I've done it the way I have. I hope everyone had a good day, because I myself, I had a very good day. But I went out and bought the first and second volume of Chainsaw Man, because I enjoyed the anime so much that I knew the manga was probably going to be right up my alley. And then I bought the third edition of Berserk, because I've read 1 and 2, so clearly a shopping trip where I knew I was gonna suffer afterwards. I haven't read any of them yet since I've got back, but it's on the agenda. Just wondering, it seems a bit pixelated. I mean, it definitely seems pixelated there. very odd. I'm just going to check the canvas properties again. Everything... hold on. Don't go reading this, but I need to go check. Nope, it's all the same. So I guess I'm just fixating. Maybe. We'll see. But yeah, like, it's been a while since I bought a manga, so I decided I'd go out and treat myself. Also, in addition to that, I've been watching Hell's Paradise, which is an anime about a group of convicted criminals and samurai being sent to an island that is considered heaven to search for the elixir of life. And the island is, like, deeply hostile and full of monsters and things like that. And yeah, it's interesting, to say the least. I think at last stream I said it was slow. It was like a little slow to get into, and it still is. However, I also feel that it just, I don't know, it just isn't gripping me either. I'm watching it and I'm not necessarily all about it. I'm just kind of like, it's just kind of flowing through me right now. Currently just checking the properties of these comics purely because I still feel like something is off. And yet, it doesn't seem to be. So either I'm going crazy, or something's up. Because, like, it's not just me, right? It looks pixelated. It could also be too close in, but it's not the first time I've zoomed into a page. Yeah, I see the pixelation. Weird. Yeah, and these guys are so smooth. Weird. Wait. Oh, maybe. Hold on. There may be a reason for it. Let me check. Ooh, yep, and yep. Okay, so it's because it's a monochromatic page. So I'm gonna have to delete this, what I've done so far, and start again. That's fine. Now I know. That was really weird. Like, genuinely, that was really weird. That was such a strange issue to have. Just looked weird and pixelated, and I didn't like it in the slightest. But I guess it also goes to show how much I've learned, as I just knew something was off. It was such a tiny thing, but I knew something was off. So I gotta take some pride in that, I guess. So yeah, like, gotta trust your gut on these kinds of things, because, like, sometimes you're just gonna feel like you're going crazy, and it's like the littlest thing. And maybe even now you guys are watching and being like, I still don't see what the difference is. And probably not, because the bitrate on my streams can be a little low sometimes. so it wouldn't surprise me. I'm actually going to have his hair go up now. Yuck it. Yeah. But I'm also glad that I figured it out and since solved it. But yeah, as I was saying with Hell's Paradise, something about it just isn't clicking for me, I guess. It's not that I don't understand the concept. I think, or maybe it's because I've been spoiled with like really good storytelling from stuff like Chainsaw Man, and I mean Parasite has definitely ruined my perception of anime because of how good its story is, and its depictions of what it means to be human and things like that. Tell you what, that's a manga I should have picked up. Parasite. But yeah, something about it. I don't know. Like, there are little issues for me, like how. So basically, if you don't know the concept of this story, a bunch of convicted criminals who are on death row have been sent to go to this like deeply dangerous island where it is theorized that the elixir of eternal life or the elixir of immortality is kept. And basically every single person who's gone there to investigate has not come back or has come back as a corpse, come back dead, but as a corpse coated in flowers that have been growing out of them. So clearly something is happening on this island. Nobody knows what though. Each criminal is accompanied by a master swordsman who are tasked with basically making sure they stay within the bounds of the laws of like that they have been given, and then basically make sure if they go out of line, they are killed, executed. I'm just gonna have some water. However, the things I have noticed that I find icky, or not icky, but like I'm not convinced on storytelling wise, because as most of you all know, if you've spent like as much as 5 minutes in one of my streams, is I'm a big fan of good storytelling. I think one of the first things, if you want to tell a good story, one of the first things you really shouldn't do if you want a series where you're scared for the lives of your characters is depict your protagonist being immortal, essentially. Essentially unkillable. So the first episode is just going through various methods that the authorities use to try and kill our protagonist. And none of them work. Worse still, the character kind of wants to die as well, at this point in the story. He wants to die. And so, only when he realizes that he has something to live for does he stop wanting to die, but also starts kind of being susceptible to being killed, in a sense. And something about that feels squiffy to me, because if you want a character, or if you want a series where you're worried that your favorite character is going to die, I mean, one of the best anime that did this was Attack on Titan, especially in the early seasons, or more so in the early seasons, because in the first, 5 episodes, our protagonist is murdered, or is not murdered, but killed. On screen, saving someone. He never got to kill a Titan. The one thing he had dreamed of getting revenge on for killing his mother. He never gets to kill a Titan. Also, we, as you know, as far as we know, in that at that point in the series, but he's killed, and then you realize, oh, that was our protagonist. No one is safe, and then you're worried for the characters all the way through, or not all the way through, but for the first few seasons. Then you have characters who are introduced who you are very quickly endeared to, like Petra. I think you can't talk about, no plot armor like Petra in the series. But then, yeah, with Hell's Paradise, I don't feel afraid for the protagonist because he's been put in boiling oil and basically walked out. He's been burned at the stake, was fine. He's been executed the traditional way with like a sword, and the sword broke. So I'm not worried for him, and so I'm not given reason to care. In a sense, he will survive. My sense is that he will survive. And then what's more is that it's got a big ensemble, like a big ensemble kind of series where there are a bunch of characters who you know, many of whom are going to die, and you think you're gonna become attached to them and things like that, and they're gonna die. Like Jujutsu Kaisen, like Chainsaw Man, you'll have characters who, for the purpose of the story, are expendable, but also, again, for the purpose of the story, exist to be killed off or serve as lessons or, what have you. But also exist to make sure that the world feels dangerous. However, and also to make the world feel painful and cruel. You'll like these characters and then they'll be killed. My issue is that we don't get given enough reason to care about these characters. And so as a result, these characters are killed off in spades, and you just don't care about any of them. They're kind of like, tick box characters. They're not stereotypes of anything or like archetypes of anything, really. They're kind of unique and interesting characters. However, they're not interesting people. They're really good, like, potential characters, but they're not fleshed out enough, and then they're killed off. So you just feel kind of like, well, I'm glad I didn't get attached to them. And with Chainsaw Man, you get these characters who are deeply unique, fascinating, likable, or unlikable, or, pitiable. And then when they die, you only stop really caring about the deaths in Chainsaw Man when you become numb to them. And it's kind of the intention of the storyteller. It's also weird because in the first episode where they're on the island, one of the characters just straight up tells them, "Oh yeah, there's going to be a big twist coming. There's going to be a big twist that's going to change the mold of everything that's happening." And it's like, are you supposed to break the fourth wall like that? Because up until now, there's not been any real like fourth wall breaks, and it's not that kind of anime either, where it's self-aware, because it doesn't really need to be self-aware. It's not how this kind of story functions. I guess it's kind of my concern right now with certain anime and stuff is that it's pursuing this kind of it's pursuing an algorithm that seems to be in the zeitgeist or seems to be popular right now, which is, distressing a distressing series with a bunch of characters who you lose the ones that you like the most, and the ones you dislike the most remain for as long as possible, and then ideally you get some catharsis out of their deaths. But yeah, I don't know. It's one of those shows that I'm not sure about. And I mean, like, I'll watch it till the end. But if it doesn't pay off for me, then I'm going to be annoyed. Going to be annoyed about it. And I don't want to be. Because more often than not, I like to try and assume that something's going to be good. Though, speaking of something that is good, Baldur's Gate. I just started playing that for the first time. And I get the hype. I do. I love it. It's a fantastic game. It's a lot of fun. I have issues with the combat, of course, but it doesn't ruin the game for me. I remember distinctly like cursing out Psychonauts and its control scheme when I first started playing it. And that's one of my favorite one of my most favorite games ever. So just because something doesn't necessarily work for me doesn't mean that it's bad. And once I get used to it, it's great. Because I feel that the game doesn't necessarily reward you for facing things head on in combat. It rewards you, or less so, you kind of reward yourself by being strategic and not taking the easiest option, but going the way, like taking the route that actually leaves your enemies the most vulnerable, which in itself is just tactics. It's just straight up tactics. I know. But it's not obvious when you start doing it. Or when you start playing this game, at the very least. But I really enjoyed it. I'm playing as a warlock, a great old one warlock, who I have dressed as a clown, and her name is Honkers. I know. But that's kind of how I roll. I just make goofy characters a lot of the time. Her guardian is Paul Hollywood off of Great British Bake Off. That's a thing I posted a tweet about. I'm not joking. I made my guardian Paul Hollywood of the Great British Bake Off. And I've recently got to see my first guardian like dream as well. So I have now seen Paul Hollywood in my game. And it is hilarious because I'm just having these dreams and he's explaining like these things to me and I'm just like, wait a second. Is that Paul Hollywood? But it's a lot of fun. And I found that playing a charismatic character, I mean, I'm playing a warlock, so I'm going to be charismatic, but playing a charismatic character is fantastic. It's so good. The dialogue options are so great, and having a high charisma character is so rewarding as a first playthrough, because you can really like talk your way out of a lot, which feels great. And like for D&D, because it's Baldur's Gate is a runoff of D&D spin-off, I guess. I want to say runoff just because it's like, it's not even really a spin-off, it's like a subsidiary in a sense. But in D&D, you know, in an ideal world, you can kind of talk your way out of anything. And that's kind of what makes the game so much fun and challenging in the right ways. So yeah, I really like that about Baldur's Gate. Character-wise, they're all great. I've actually not met a single companion that I didn't like. I love them all. Do I have a favorite? Currently, I actually don't know. I don't think I have a favorite because I love them all so much. And as a bi man, I could tell you I've had plenty of moments of panic. Plenty of moments of bi panic as I've played because I'm like, I've watched a bunch of Instagram reels. I've watched a bunch of like other people's content, the Astarian thirst traps and things like that. I've seen a bunch of those things. You know, I've seen which characters, you know, people are thirsting over and stuff like that. I'm not susceptible to that. And then you can tell just by the way I'm giggling, but like, and then just all of a sudden, you know, Gale comes out of that portal and he's like, "Hello," and I'm just like, oh my god, this awkward being. There's this feeling in my chest. And then when I broke Halsin out of that cell, and then he turned into a man, and he was just like, "Hello, friend," and I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. The fuck is going on? Then when I, you know, I could say that about literally every character introduction that I've had so far. Where I've just been like, oh, Jesus. Getting floored every single time, and I'm just like, oh, God, what do I do? I can't win here. Who am I supposed to romance? It's a nightmare. I can see why people are still playing and replaying this game. Because they just gotta know what it's like. I will say I'm not hugely attracted to Will, I think. Currently, that's the only one where I'm just like, okay, I think I'm okay. I think I'm okay. But I like him as well. I'm like, this is a character of integrity and honor. And then on the other side of the coin, we've got Shadowheart, and I'm just like, she's lying to me, and she is leading me astray. She's not telling me the truth. She's just acting with immorality or just being deceptive the whole way. But I love her. But I would kill for you. I would and have killed for you. Just for a kiss on the cheek. That's all I want. And yes, we all love Karlach. Everybody loves Karlach. Karlach's the best.
Karlach is the sun that shines, and all that amazing jazz. She's the best. I get it. Also, holy shit, if you haven't made her a wild magic barbarian, what are you doing? That's so much fun. Holy shit. It's the best. That's also the best. I've seen a playthrough, like, I've watched someone play through Baldur's Gate with her as the totems one, which is fine and that works great. But holy crap, it's so much fun to watch the wild magic just do its thing. Because for those of you who don't know, wild magic is random magic, and it kind of just it will randomly, anytime she rages, it will randomly pick a benefit, which can sometimes backfire on you. So one of them is called Dark Tentacles, which essentially saps health from the people around her and gives her health. And that does not discriminate, so it will hit your teammates and stuff like that. But then other times it'll make like a field of flowers that make difficult terrain, which as a barbarian who basically doesn't want people getting away from her so that she can just beat them up and destroy them, that's awesome. They can't get away from her, and if they get out of the field and she chases after them, they re-enter the field because it follows her. It's so cool. Or, you get like abilities like every turn you can summon a flump who just explodes. He just appears and then explodes, and it's so good. It's so much fun. So if you haven't done it, wild magic is just fun. Is just a fun option if you're feeling like you need a little bit of spice thrown in. I've met Volo, the author of Volo's Guide to Monsters. My D&D nerds will know who that is and what that is. He is a dingus, but thanks to him I can now see invisibility. Yes, I let him pick my eye out, but of course I would. I want to be able to see invisibility. And yes, I let that man beat me with a club as well, so that I could get that blessing. The blessing of the goddess of pain. Of course I did. Did I feel like I awoke something in me afterwards? Maybe. All accidental, but all things I knew when I'd started playing this game. Do I regret it? No. It's done. It's happened. There's nothing I can do now. And what else? I also love that, like, I don't know why, but my character is so expressive in cutscenes or in dialogue. Because I've watched someone play this through before, and it's what spurred me to play it. Their character wasn't, like, even half as expressive as Honka's. Like, if anything happens, whether it be good or bad, her face just, like her eyes just get huge. She's just shocked all the time. And it is so funny to me. She is so freaking expressive. I don't know what I did in her character design that made her so expressive, but she is super expressive. And very cute as well. I thought I should add. So she's based on Sugar, my sticker, like my clown girl sticker. Because I always struggle to like come up with a character that I'm actually gonna give a shit about. So as a result, I just make characters that I jokingly make characters. For those of you who watched my uh, Elden Ring Melania fight, my character's name was Gimpus, and basically his storyline was that he was like immensely handsome, but he never took his helmet off, and he started off as the prisoner, so he had that weird like inflated gimp mask helmet, essentially. So I always lean to joke characters more so than, serious characters. I can't do serious. Despite, being a DM who has to create serious characters all the time. That being said, I'm starting a new campaign and I've made a fuck ton of non-serious characters, including a woodchuck who's a scout master called Woody Wichita. So clearly, not as serious as I should be. Oh, that's opacity. Keep using the wrong dial. Ratchet is finished. And I've actually drawn the background this time, which is, something I forgot to do last time. Ratchet isn't finished. I didn't draw his hand. Thumb is too thin. There we go. And we're going to draw this fingy. That's slightly better. I think the draft finger is definitely confusing me, but that's okay. I might just follow it. Maybe not quite so big. There we go. Hands, man. Just very hard to draw. But yeah, I also feel like I've not done a whole lot in it, then also done a lot. But I also don't know. I don't know the scale. Scale of what is done and what is left. I think I'm still on, what's it, chapter 1? Definitely not at Baldur's Gate, that's the thing. I know I'm not at chapter 3, because I'm not at Baldur's Gate. Never seen Baldur's Gate. Not yet. I don't even know what a Baldur's Gate is. I've met, Will's patron. And of course, like everybody else, I was like, ooh, wow, wee wow. Sorry. I, of course, lovely faced, lovely to look at, but awful. Awful. Horrible woman. Devil woman. That feels like it needs. Ugh. Yeah, it needs a little bit of that. I also wish Gale would stop eating the magic items, 'cause sick of it. He's like, oh, I'm hungry. And I'm like, just, like, stop eating my magic items. Have a sandwich. And he's like, oh, but I need some magic items or I'll die. And I'm like, well, I don't want you to die. And he's just like, yeah, so give me your magic items. Give me your magic boots that you really like. I haven't given him anything that I actually have been using yet. It's only a matter of time, though, I know it. He's gonna be like, oh, yum, yum, yum. Give me that dagger. I want to eat that. We go on a date, and he's just like, oh, he's just like, what are you gonna have at the restaurant? And I'm just like, I'm gonna go for the spaghetti bolognese. And he's like, oh, nice. I'm gonna go for these boots. These magic shoes. And then I'll realize after the date that they were my magic shoes. Then I don't have magic shoes. And I had to pay the bill on the date. Which is a pretty rough date, I think. He seems like the kind of guy who'd be like, let's go halvesies. Maybe. I don't know. Who am I to judge? I always pay. Because I'm a gentleman. Gentleman mouse. Brush size, bring it down. Just a tab. Tab, just a tad, Jesus. I think after this stream I'll probably read a bit of Chainsaw Man. And then play some Baldur's Gate, because fuck yeah. Love me some Baldur's Gate. Gonna also just add a few things to this area to make it look like Ratchet has actually covered a bit of distance. So I'm gonna make the area look a little different. Alter it slightly in post, not in post, in the rendering phase. So the trees are fairly similar because it is a similar landscape and things like that. But I'm going to add a little bit more lush kind of greenery as we get deeper into Kaitiaki. Ugh. It's a touch messy. Just add the ridges and indentations myself, I think. There we go. Just a little bit. Since it's going to be in the shadows, it kind of makes sense to add just a few little things. That just make it pop a little bit. The mushrooms I'll add in the rendering phase as well, just because I kind of like them without the line work attached to them. And then now it also like is a kind of a task to kind of decode my draft a little bit and add to it where I can. It's going to be a thicker based tree. So we'll give it as much space as it needs to actually look convincing. That definitely doesn't look thick. Does not look thick. Well done. Just make the minute alterations just enough to actually make it look a little bit larger, broader. There we go. Just make it as wide as you can, while still allowing it to look normal. All very important. Let's zoom in. Still just drawing from afar. Working on my art piece as if it was in the distance and I am not allowed to get closer. And doing that has caused problems down the line the past few times I've done it, so should really be learning from my mistakes. But I'm Grey Mouse, I never learn. I never learn. Also with Baldur's Gate, I'm trying to keep Minthara alive. I want her to be my companion. I know she can be. I've watched people play it before to the point where I know that Minthara can be a companion, so I want her to be a companion. And I think the first thing you gotta do to achieve that is not kill her in the goblin hold. So that's what I've done. I've left her unconscious. Someone will take care of it, I'm sure. Someone will take care of it. She'll be okay. Lying there naked, of course, because I did take all her stuff. But, like, she'll be okay. I'm actually thinking of adding, like, some ruins and stuff. So I'm actually going to just grab some references. Don't mind me, I'm still going to talk to you, but I won't be paying attention to my comic. Ruins. Actually, I don't need to look online, because I have the perfect resource for it. Give me a moment, guys. I'm not going to go to my internets. I'm going to go to my shelf behind me. A fun little excursion, as it were. Don't worry, I'm not going far. Don't worry. Just need to grab a resource. I don't know why I'm talking to you guys like I'm a children's show entertainer. Sorry, guys. But I do have the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild art book, or compendium. It's like a phone book. It's really thick. It's really full of deep, insightful information. And I really want my art style to be reminiscent of that style that you see in Breath of the Wild. Because for me, I think it's gorgeous. I think it's just gorgeous. So, and I want my world to look like Hyrule, in a sense. Now let's grab some reference stuff, materials. So I'm looking for ruins or just a little bit of, set dressing for the world. I do love the Nema plain stone rings. I've got some designs like that. I'm not gonna directly copy stuff, because I think that's not okay. But just taking a little bit of inspiration is a good thing. Not a good thing, is a good way of kind of diversifying your designs. And for me, I want my work to look like I've learned, and like I've learned things. I think to me that's actually very important. Tarrytown. Also, if you are interested in art books and things like that, I would highly recommend this book. It's fantastic. It's gorgeous. And if you're an aspiring artist, one of my biggest recommendations for things to do, if you're looking to expand your visual medium, is to collect art books and to look at them and obsess over them. I have a few favorite art books that I continuously look back to. One of them being the Prey art book, so the art book for the game Prey. I love it. It's fantastic. It's one of my favorites. It is my favorite. I mean, second now to this one, but you know what I mean. Just taking a nice long look. Sorry, as I'm not really drawing anything right now. Oh, thank you so much, Galley Sprout. I will use this opportunity to stretch while I look at the many beautiful designs. I'll also take a sip of water. Don't mind me, guys. Okay. Just grabbing a good page. There we go. There we go. Rundown buildings, ruins, arches. I think that's the big thing, is that you want like arches and stuff like that. Because I'd also love to give people this sense that the world was inhabited by many things. But so far, the Cat-Eye, the people who lived here before the humans, knew how to live in harmony with it. So their buildings aren't overgrown and overrun, whereas early human civilizations in the land are just destroyed. Destroyed and ransacked. Run through by nature itself. And torn apart by an environment that just doesn't want them there. That's what I'm trying to do, essentially. Give it a straight line because kind of needs to be a straight line for a wall. But yeah, I love that idea of like environmental storytelling where it's clear that an attempt to make a kingdom was started but never followed through because the world didn't, like the continent didn't want them there. Didn't want them in these parts. And I fuck with that. I fuck with that idea. I love it. Don't know why I said that. I'm not trying to appeal to a demographic that uses phrases like that. First of all, because I just don't understand. Do I make this an old windmill or no? No. Let's just make it an old, like, fortification. An old busted down fortification. I probably don't need to get rid of the lines there, do I? I think... I'm not an architect, but I know an architect. Or at the very least I know someone who studied architecture. And I think they'd be very disappointed in me if I didn't include, you know, columns and beams and things like that. Ooh, do we have just a broken down, a broken, like, stained glass window? Good idea, chat. Good idea, guys. I know I'm talking to myself a lot, but you get it, right? We'll have a few remnants of the, like, colored glass and stuff. But for the most part, it's all gone. Broken and stolen, or just broken with time. Things like that. That's gonna look really nice. I'm actually really all about that. It'll be cute. It'll be cute. Yeah, and I'll try to make it a little bit more ruiny around about here because in my head we're getting close to the field, like the field lands, where a great deal more like civilization is. And then people tried to settle on these parts, the forested areas, where many of the goblins of old used to live. And they were just, yeah, these new colonies and stuff were just completely overwhelmed and overrun, not by the goblins themselves, but by the nature that didn't accommodate to them. Which I like the idea of making nature, or the continent itself, a character. Having little moments of dialogue with it where no one's really talking, but the world is still just this big thing. Yeah, cool. We just have a broken tower. Get a little bits of wood and stuff. I like the idea that, like, the human civilization saw these carved out stones and thought, oh yeah, we're gonna build in these parts. And then it just didn't work out for them. Because, again, the goblins knew the land better. And they knew to build these things here, but not anything else. Collapsed timber building. And attempted a homestead, maybe, or a church, cathedral, perhaps. An attempt to make a home. But then we also see the world like with the Doghouse Inn. We see that the continent isn't cruel. It lets people in. But people really gotta learn to accommodate to it. And then I need just a little bit of rubble, of course. No home, no lost home without a little bit of rubble. Maybe an old chimney as well. I love like the old brickwork chimneys that seem to stick around even after the house itself is gone. There's something very ominous about that image. I like it. I like it a lot. But I also like the idea that whoever set up a home here may have logged this tree or may have brought this tree down. And then because of whatever reason, they never finished. They never finished cutting it away. Maybe the wood was too hard to turn into logs or planks. Well, not too hard, but maybe too soft, or maybe too just not right. Again, little aspects that I kind of love putting into stories. We'll throw in these trees, but I'm keen to put in some more like statues. Attempts to make like little markers to human civilizations and things like that. Again, just overindulging in the creative like aspect of it, when I should just be moving along. It's okay. I will learn to get faster at this. And then I can do this stuff, the overindulgence in the ideas stage, really quickly. I'm just going to learn to accommodate to the changes, the alterations. I learned to be a better illustrator, and then with that, the freedom to just lose myself in the creative process is just flows with it. That was pretty close, but also just not correct. Line work wise, not just what the garbage I was spewing. Assuming Ratchet doesn't think that he's being watched currently. There's no reason to believe he is. And he's not. Yet. Maybe. No spoilers. Perhaps. That's probably a better arch than what I've done. Yeah, there we go. Keep getting my headphone cable caught on the table. Give me a moment, guys. While I make that adjustment. Do I want to stick something here? Other than just trees. Actually, hold on. How's that land looking? Let's zoom out all the way for a moment. I mean, it can have like one raised land and lowered land. That's not an issue. I'm more just concerned with whether or not it looks natural or not. Yeah, there we go. Nice straight line. Oh, that one looks a little weird. Kind of looks like a rhino beetle. Yeah. Fairly imperfect lines, but they will work for what I'm going for. Kind of thinking I might make this a willow tree, so I'll add little bits and pieces to make it droop. Just a tad, right? Moving my references. Those are people. I don't care. I'm not deeply bothered by what the people look like. Animals and stuff, that's kind of good to know. Hold on, let me check the directory. Or the appendix. Parts, ingredients, and ore 198. Okay, we can go from there. Okay, we got it. Parts and ore. Yes. That's it. It's like 3 pages. I am spoiled for stuff. Because I'm like, 3 pages? That's not enough. That's not enough to learn from. It is. It's more than okay. Yeah. Grab some stone designs. That looks like a terrible stone. Moss formation. There we go. Oh, no, there we go. Yeah. Nice. I haven't put a whole lot of bushes and stuff in there. This isn't a bush, it's a tree. But you know what I'm talking about. Nope. It's not the right kind of arch. Just kind of gotta let the image be overwhelmed with stuff. Just because then it all looks a little bit more vibrant and alive. Like a real thing. Should put some animals and stuff in it. I'm still not 100% convinced on what animals would exist in Kaitiaki. I have a few things written down. But nothing set in stone. Not yet. So this, the thing I'm drawing, Now, I actually don't even want to draw in line work. I gotta draw in afterwards. If I want to draw it at all. I could draw something similar to it. But not in line work. It's not the place for it. It's not the place for it in color either, but gonna do color next. Now, what have I forgotten here? Doesn't look like anything too important. Other than a little line down here. Hang on. That's completely wrong. Yeah, that's good. Adding a few just scattered bits of crap. Scattered leaves and... not leaves, scattered sticks, twigs. Color. Make sure I've got the right layer, yep. His cloak. His pupils. Anything else? No. I use a lot of the same color for browns and stuff. So that should make things pretty quick, in theory. That one. I've reverted to being really far zoomed out again, but hey, that's my want. Getting Ratchet completely finished first before I do the rest of the world, because the rest of the world is going to be a lot of work. Ratchet, Ratchet never shows his hammer here, does he? No. Okay. I can fix that later. Well, not fix that later, but I can find the hammer color somewhere else. Should probably try to go for a few different colored kind of trees. Like, this color is nice, but maybe it's best. Slightly desaturate. Yeah, that's nice. That's a good tree color. And I'll make some adjustments to include it elsewhere. Light blue, because he's a member of Blue Steel at this point in time. Oh, he's no longer a member of Blue Steel at this point in time, but at one point he was. So he still has a shirt. We don't see a lot of like skyline in this part. So I'm actually gonna have to go back to this page. Don't go looking. I'm telling you all now, I don't want to catch you guys looking at reading any of these pages. Don't you do it. So that's spoilers. Don't you go spoiling it for yourself. Wait until it's all out, or pay the membership. You know the deal. If you want to be updated page by page, then there are options for that. Basically, on my Kofi page, you can get comic pages like by page, as opposed to by chapter, and that's the option I have there. These ones are fine because these are the release chapters, so you can read these, because if you read these, then you're not going to be spoiled at all. Like, you can read this on the Kofi. Not the Kofi, you can read this on the Tapas page. It's no issue. Don't know why I'm this far zoomed out. However, if you want to see other stuff early, then Kofi is the place. Because I post all sorts of shit there. To do it. And then tree line, pink trees. Because that's just fun. That's just cute. That's gonna mess with the feng shui. Go for one that's similarly colored. Okay, now we need to be close. Because I can't see the interior of this building. Without being up close. Every so often I just see a little punga bouncing across the screen. Reminding myself to stretch, stand up for a while. Should probably do that. I will get around to it. Oh, this is all rubble. I need wood rubble. Ah, I dislike that greatly. Let's just desaturate some green. More desaturated. Yeah, there we go. Now wood. Actual wood rubble. This might be confusing to decipher later on. It'll be okay. I'm gonna have to go back over everything and get those little white dots and stuff, but that's okay. The little errors to fix. It's fine. And blue. Essentially white. That's too blue. Not white enough. It's gonna have white teeth. Or whitish teeth. There we go. Get the fine color. And then we just slowly make little bits of progress with these. So I don't want just pink. I want, yeah, red. Vivid reds and greens. But not like that, I don't think. Just something about it immediately struck me as not right. Or really it should be, yeah, different tints of blue. Something, yeah, just a little bit more subtle and understated. Something like that. That's good. Kind of looks a bit spider's webby, but that's okay. I can fix it as I go. And now we sit here for a little while. Oh, hey Moon, you gonna redeem the warm up? A bunny. Okay, I can do a bunny. I can do a bunny redeem. Let's save this and we'll jump quickly to the warm up page. Okay, we're gonna need a nice big brush size. That should be big enough. Whoa. Bunny sitting. I can do that. That I can do. It's interesting how like few lines you need to actually make a recognizable image, especially for a bunny. You like bunnies? That's fair. Bunnies are lovely. I used to have a bunny as a kid. Bunny as a bunny rabbit, or my brother did anyway. And as we're getting, I mean, we're not close to Easter, but we are getting closer to it. It's this time of the year where Easter's just right around the corner. I don't know why I keep doing that, like, that style of cute eye. This one is usually better. Yeah. But yeah, I had a brother who had a rabbit. No, my brother had a rabbit for a while. Okay, that's the bunny head. Let's draw the rest of it. Now they have kind of like two sort of sitting positions, don't they? We're sitting up like a human being. You're allergic to bunnies, Canis. Oh, that's a shame. I mean, also, yeah. I think my mum was allergic to bunnies and rodent hair. Found ways to watch Has-Been Hotel because you have no money. Oh no, I mean, that's cool. I've heard so much about Has-Been Hotel, like, happening for years, that now that it's actually, like, a thing, is so wild to me. It's so good. That's cool. I'm glad to hear that. I may end up watching it. If I ever find the time. Which I never seem to have now. Between Baldur's Gate and everything else. But I'll add it to my list. I want to watch season 6 of the Eric Andre show, but I don't have money, so... and you live in South America? Yeah. That's fair. That does make it difficult. I remember for such a long time nothing was coming to Australia. Like when you had to wait for DVDs and stuff, if you missed it in the theater and stuff like that, you used to have to wait like months to a year to get the DVD of whatever movie or thing you wanted to watch. It's always such a pain in the ass. So yeah, I can empathize for sure. Give it a just give it a big ass tail. Then it stops being a bunny. Then surely. Shit, man. Yeah, yeah. You know how it is. It's cause that like the distribution rights and stuff like that are always such a pain in the ass if you're outside of like America or Britain. And even if you're in Australia, it still takes a while to get stuff. And even our streaming services aren't immensely good. Yeah, as a kid, it stung to see a movie coming into theaters I wanted to see because I knew I'd be waiting a while. Parents wouldn't take you to the theaters. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Gally. And I'm also lovely to see you, Gally. I think you redeemed something, didn't you? Yeah, Stretch. I was just about to say just Gally. Yeah. Yeah, it's being a kid was tough. Being a kid in the early 2000s was tough. Not to say that being a kid now isn't tough, or being a kid ages ago was tough. You've been lurking because you feel pretty crummy. That's all good. That's all good. All good. You don't have to chat or like jump in or do anything like that. Like if you're just chilling out, it's totally cool with me. I'll try my best to acknowledge you guys. But also, yeah, if you're feeling rough, then you know more than fair enough to just chill out and listen to the dulcet tones of me complaining about various animes and talking about how I've got a crush on every single character in Baldur's Gate. You know, the usual grey mouse stuff. That's pretty cute. Oh, completely off. You probably hear it all the time, but your voice is really calming. I've heard that once or twice. I thank you so much. It's very flattering to hear. I do what I can. I do what I can to make my voice um, calming. For me, a being who lives in this body, I find my voice to be sometimes annoying, but I'm sure we all have that feeling. I always feel like I want to do more with my drawings. No, the eyebrows just like make everything so weird. I'll do a few little things, then we can jump back to the comic. Guessing that's normal as you hate your own voice a lot. Yeah, it's a completely normal feeling to have. I think the only reason I'm now more okay with it is because I stream so constantly, and then also my actual work is related to audio recording, so I actually record a ton of audio with my voice in it. Do you consider myself a VTuber? Yeah. Do you know other Australian VTubers? No, not really. I know a few. So technically I am a PNG tuber. Um, so my model is a PNG that basically shifts between different versions, and I also have different models, so I can be scared, I can be sad, uh, I could be a tiny little paint version of myself, and I can be a sock puppet. Um, but it is all virtual tubing, so on a technical scale, I'm a VTuber, which feels weird to say, but yeah, I guess I am. It's a weird thing I've never thought about. Also, PNG tubers. I know Simon, who is a PNG tuber. I want to say Simon Reed, but it's Simon Red, isn't it? Simon? Let me check. Let me check my many resources. Have I not seen Simon in a while? Simon? I'm now just saying Simon. That could mean anything. You're really into an Aussie PNG tuber, Buka-chan draws? What's his channel? It's Simon Reed. Hold on. Is it Simon Reed? Where's my boy? Simon Red. Okay, Simon_Red. Yeah. Not Reed. My brain always assumes it's Reed, but it's Red. So R-E-D. Simon Red. Simon_Red. She's insane and hilarious and has an issue with shrimps. I've not heard of her, so I'll add her to my list of VTubers that I need to get to know. Yeah, my brain, like, because I haven't spoken to him in a little while, or rated him in a little while, I must have my brain just assumed it was Reed. It's Red. And I don't feel like I need to say this, but I'm going to say it. I'm terrible with names, even if they're online names. I'm like glad that I get notified of the names of people in my chat, because sometimes I'll just be like, oh, Canis, Gourley, how you guys doing? And this is completely incorrect. Gonna put this book down. If you hear a loud thump, it's because I've accidentally dropped the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild book. I probably sound pretty quiet as I moved away. Yeah, I know a few Australian streamers now. It took me like a year to find them, but eventually I found them, and then I actually started to find Adelaidean streamers, which was huge for me because like I couldn't find anyone for ages. I didn't know I didn't know any other Australian streamers for ages, and now I know too many. Yeah, Simon_Red. Yeah, he's great. He's such a lovely, lovely streamer. Lovely guy. Very friendly. Super approachable as well. When I just started out, he was super nice. And it was always really lovely to find like an Australian streamer. As an Australian streamer who was just starting out, it was very encouraging to find an art streamer who was doing really well. You already follow him. Yeah, Buka is in this situation. Yeah. Oh my god, this whole world is secretly Aussie. Yeah. The Aussie takeover. We're all just coming back winning hearts. And yeah, getting recompense for all that time we've been convicts. Are you an Aussie and you don't know yet? Probably. What do you pop on a barbie or a barbecue? What do you do? What do you put on it? Other than sausages. Secretly a bunch of blue-tongued skinks. Hey, that's pretty good. That's a good life. They are the best of us. And there is no competition there. Our sweet, sweet blue-tongued lizards, they are the best of us. They do no harm, and they bring only peace. Bloody hell, mate, my Vegemite tasted weird all this time. I bet. My Vegemite tastes like Nutella. Or Nutella, as some people pronounce it. Not in Australia, but some people. They have stern brows. I'm convinced they know more than us, and their own knowledge slightly aggravates them. Probably. It is. It is a real curse being like brought into a world with as like a creature like a lizard that has just an expression, an unchanging expression on their face, but it's a really negative one. And blue tongues are very like they're not as expressive as other lizards. I'll give you that much. Like my bearded dragon was very expressive. He used to smile and stuff. Or, you know, at the very least his eyebrows would raise and fall. Whereas, yeah, blue tongues, one expression, and that's it. No other expressions. Like many of us Australians, we got one expression, and that's about it. That's not true. We're a very animated people, actually, let's be honest. And I think I talk about this a lot, but in Australia, I don't have a very pronounced accent. So, to other Australians, I sound less Australian. Well, not less Australian, but my accent doesn't sound as Australian. And it's because it's got a bit of British in it. So I have inflections of British in my accent, and it's just because I got tricked as a child, as a small child, into speaking with a British accent, but only for certain words. Yeah, my beardies, their eyebrows, eye ridges almost seem like they get big and tall when they are nosy or want something. Yeah, I love that. They're just very expressive creatures. And they do like cameras as well, I found. Like if you actually, if you take pictures of them, they're actually interested in what you're doing. And I didn't do it often, but anytime there was like a mirror reflection, they'd interact with it, much like budgies or parrots. My lord, that is Mouse. How art the bee? Hey, Zombie Slayer. I be good. I be doing good. I have maintained my gym routine, and today the fruits of my labor paid off as I came into the gym this morning at 6 a.m. and there was no one there. So I could do I could do a full pump day without anyone being there, and I could test out the machines that I'd never used before without looking like a fool. Or feeling embarrassed because I didn't know how to use the machines. But how are you? It's been a while. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing okay. Hope work has been good. And that you haven't been working yourself too hard as well. Very important. Take your breaks where you can. And that goes for all of you. If you're feeling overworked or overwhelmed, take a break. Even if it's just a little moment to breathe. And maybe that's all you need. Or maybe that's not all you need, but it's just enough to keep you going through the day. Do that. They make really sweet faces at your camera. Also, the blepping is adorable. I love that they give a mighty blep to something, and it's not good enough. Got to blep it like 5 more times. Have an old picture of a beardy full on blepping at the lens. Yeah, it's so cute, and because they do it to not to see but to analyze what's in front of them. So they'll lick something before moving across it. Super cute. Good that you're good, chat. If you didn't know, we here in this chat call my mouse his full rank and titles as the prince who saved that was lost, his divine risness, Sir Rizzler, that is Mouse. Those of you who are slightly newer to my chat and don't know Zombie Slayer, you can just ignore him. You don't need to call me by any sort of title. Mouse or Grey will do. And we don't need to talk about my rizziness. Though it is funny. I feel like we've gotten past Riz. Like, I feel like Riz is no longer a word people use anymore. Which I feel sad about because we've just gotten into it, right? My beady Brambles has a routine that whenever I clean the house, he pays you with a blep. That's adorable. I love that. I love that so much. If for me, if I was cleaning the tank, then Grips, my bearded dragon, would get to explore. So I'd let him out and let him kind of explore the room because my room didn't have much in it, so it was totally fine for him to kind of wander around. He did once get rolled over by the door as someone came through, but he was still quite little then, so he kind of just slipped under it and wasn't hurt, which thank goodness. But yeah, we've had a few close calls. Any whom shall speak heresy against my lord will be executed on the spot. No, that's that's totally okay. We have no crimes punishable by death here in chat. The worst you can get is banned. Don't use that as a reason to say whatever you like, but like the worst that can happen is you get banned. And I use you as an example of what not to do, but that's about it. Just a bit of social death. No actual physical execution will happen. Yeah, Grips was a sweet little bean. And he lived a good life as well. So I was always really happy to have him around. Yeah, have a little area fenced off for them to get some exercise. Brambles likes to go under a little cart and keep some books on like a cave. I refer to it as him going to the library. That's super cute. I love that a lot. Alas, my lord is too kind and generous as he always is. Sheath's executioner's sword. That's good of you. That's good of you, Zombie Slayer. Thank you. Thank you for your restraint. My royal executioner, guys. He works too hard. He clearly works too hard. Never needed to ban any. Oh, actually, that's not true. I've banned like ads and stuff. And fingers crossed, I never have to ban anyone. I think my little heart would suffer. Be sad about it. You know. My goal is just to make a nice community full of nice people, so then I never really have to worry about the potential of banning people. Ugh, okay, fine, under my breath, you and your fucking morals. No, we need morals. Morals are what keep us safe. Like, truly safe. It's a fair assumption. You also love the sleep wriggling they do too then. Yeah, oh my god, that's so cute. Shifting into the substrate. Yeah, it's adorable. Absolutely adorable. I don't think I'd get a lizard again, but I would be happy to like... So, for those of you who don't know, and I think that's most of you because I haven't talked about it yet, but my goal for this year and next year is to buy a house that I can fix up, and I'll be living there. But I wouldn't be against having a little space for lizards, like in the summer, a space for lizards to kind of roam, essentially. Like a little bit of brickwork for skinks and stuff, and trees and stuff for geckos and things like that. Because I think that'd be really nice. And I'm not going to do any beekeeping, but I'd love to have like a bee house for wild bees to kind of stop and rest on their very long and tiring journeys. But there is that one time you banished the Dark Lord of the unending void of death back to his realms of despair and shadow. I did do that, yes, but I didn't have to ban him. I didn't have to ban him from my channel. He pops in on Wednesdays. Uh, so, but yeah, oh, I couldn't ban him from my channel. That I'd feel too bad. They get in my bed and do it to your plushies. Oh, that's super cute. Do I have any pets currently? No. So I currently live in a rental apartment, so I can't have pets. I'd love to have pets, but I also the lifestyle that I have currently isn't conducive to a lot of pets. I think if I were to get pets, I'd probably get a cat, which is ironic because I'm Grey Mouse, but I do like cats. There you go, chat. Work hard and tirelessly, and our Lord will have his own place of residence. Yeah, one day. I'd love to fix up a house, and that's my hope to do, like, that I'll be able to do that next year. Next year in winter. So my streams might go on a strange hiatus, but that'll be why. It's because I've got a house to build or fix. Yeah, I remember saying you don't have pets, but do you have a troll? We got a troll coming up. A troll is under a bridge in a location near you. He's on his way. He'll actually be appearing in chapter 4. So hopefully, if I remain on schedule, I will have that troll drawn this year. I never actually had a cat, but I do like them. Do you intend to document any of the housework? Oh yeah, absolutely. I'll probably make some videos and stuff like that. But one of the big things I want to do is that I need to get a hammer for Ratchet. Hold on. One of the things I'm really keen to do is that... Sorry, I'm just distracted. Just trying to find a frame that has Ratchet with a hammer in it. I'm really keen to have a recording booth in my place, and also a place where I can actually work on my merchandise, because maybe not starting next year, but maybe the year after, I will be I'll be making t-shirts and stuff as merchandise. And I will have a 3D printer by then, so I'll also be making figurines for y'all and myself, because that's also one of the reasons why I make merchandise is so that I can have cool stuff for myself as well. And then you have 2 trolls, one wow, my brain really just didn't work. IRL and 1 digitally. Save. Hold on. Let me save. Saved. Yeah. Yeah, I'll have plenty of trolls. I used to have this isn't a troll, but I used to have a gargoyle called Icarus in my garden when I was growing up. And I wouldn't be against getting a gargoyle for my garden for my next place. But not called Icarus, because I've got an Icarus. I don't have a garden in this place either, which is really heartbreaking for me as well. So the next place I get, hopefully my own place, will have space for me to have a garden, but then more so than that, a place for me to build a greenhouse, because I would love a greenhouse. That would be incredible. That's gonna look weird, hold on. And let's remember, I now also do soft shadows as well as hard shadows. That doesn't look right. That's okay. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like, so in Australia, and maybe other parts of the world, but we refer to houses that you buy just to fix up as lemon houses, because a lemon is essentially an old busted thing in slang. And that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get a lemon house, fix it up, make a recording booth, so then my audio quality sounds like great, and I may even start doing some voice acting on the side. But then also, yeah, I'm gonna make a, not a workshop, but a kind of a workshop, let's say, for the stuff I want to make, like shirts and 3D prints of stuff. There are certain characters that have like helmets and cowls that I think are really cool, and I'd love to make uh, the cowl that Death has in my comic world. If you guys have seen my Instagram, I've posted, oh, and actually the Discord, I've posted images of Death's like cowl and stuff, and I think that's super cool. One of my favorite designs that I've made. Lemons are tasty. Lemons are tasty. I agree. I like lemons. I don't know where the term lemon house came from, but who am I to question how things are named? My name is Grey Mouse. Ooh, ad coming up. But yeah. Streaming, drawing art, and gaming and voice acting. There you have it, gamers. Our heavenly gaming lord is simply so awesome, nothing can contain his desires. I also work full time, if you want to add to that list of stuff. Not to be narcissistic, but I do also work full time. And I love what I do. But where was I going with this? And yeah, I think I'm super busy. I'm a super busy kind of person. I make myself too busy sometimes. I have aspirations, I have just big aspirations, I think. Sometimes my aspirations uh, outbid my means. Sometimes. I'm the kind of guy who has walked home from like a hardware store with a big piece of wood, like a big piece of timber because it was on special. And I'm like, oh, I could make a shelf out of this. And I didn't have a car at the time, so I was just walking home on foot with a big piece of wood in the wind. Terrible mistake. Hey, Kit, how you doing? I know. Idiot, this guy, what a dingus. What a dingus. Walking home in the wind with a piece of wood, the amount of times it just knocked me to the ground because it basically served as a sail. I don't know, because houses make people's faces scrunch up. Oh, because the houses make people's faces scrunch up. Probably. That's not a bad assumption. Sounds about right. I think for me, there are a certain list of criteria that are like non-negotiable. Like if there are certain things wrong with it, then I definitely can't get it. And that'd be like plumbing. If the plumbing is severely in need of repair, then it's probably just best to find somewhere else. But if it's like fixable and not too expensive, then yeah, that's fine. If a lot of the work that needs to be done is like carpentry and stuff, I can do that. I can do that myself. Not me imagining a mouse walking with a 2x4 on their head. That was exactly how I did it. I also had like 2 meters of dowel in my hand as well, so it was really precarious. I mean, it would have been interesting to see. It also should have a floor and not just a bottomless pit. Yes, absolutely. I have even said that I would forgive if it was cursed. If the house is cursed, I can forgive that. Because I intend to take good care of the house, so I assume the ghost will be okay with me. Also, I'm a big lover of the paranormal, so the opportunity to like run into a ghost is kind of cool. Kind of enticing to me. Also, I forgot to ask, Kit, I hope you're doing well. Hope you've had a good weekend? Question mark? Or are going to enjoy continuing your weekend? I don't know. Question mark? If there's a ghost, it might help you build. You never know. True. They might help me find stuff in like the floorboards, or they might tell me where the studs are because they can go through walls. Ah, good point. Really good point, Gally. Maybe the ghost will somehow be cool. I assume. Well, I mean, I hope the ghost is cool. Yeah. Maybe they just chill. That'd be good. Just started your Sunday, 3 a.m. Ah, cool. Okay, well, I hope you're enjoying your weekend. That's some big brain stuff. Yeah. I get the ghost to pay rent. Oof, that'd be good. That'd be poppin'. Help me pay my mortgage, ghost. And they're just like, well, I've got a secret. I'm a pirate. Or I've got some treasure hidden away in the house. Thank you, Mr. Ghost. This will really help pay the stamp duty. Sitting on 4:35 a.m. yourself, frog, help my sleep schedule. I mean, yeah, that's a messed up sleep schedule, I'll admit. Not messed up. It's a precarious sleep schedule, to say the least. My community has maybe one of the worst sleep schedules ever because so many of you are like British or Canadian or American or from South America. That is how I look when I've been operating on about 4 hours of sleep, so that is accurate, Kelly. I can fully relate to that. But yeah, I'll just have people come into chat and they'll be like, "Hey, Grey Mass, it's 3 a.m. here," and I'm just like, "I'm so sorry. This is just the time that I stream. I'm so sorry." Not me. I'm in your time zone, so when you stream, it's a great time for you. That's true, and yet you're never. No, it's totally fine. That is true. Yeah, which is a bit of like good fortune as well, that you're in my time zone. Which hilariously is like getting viewers who are in my time zone is so weirdly rare, which is so surprising. Lately I sleep at 6 a.m., wake up at 11 a.m., go back to sleep at 1 p.m., wake up again at 4 p.m. Okay. That's a lot of napping and waking up, that's for sure. But I respect it. I respect that hustle. Not me drinking an energy drink right now. Kit! What the fuck? What are you doing, Kit? I mean, whatever you want, clearly. And that's totally fine. But also, Jesus. Can you believe that I've never had an energy drink? I don't drink energy drinks. I have no idea what they taste like, but I know they give you energy, and I feel like there's a certain amount of power that I just should never have, should never possess. Before that, I was sleeping for 13 hours every night, so heck you. I mean, yeah, that is precarious, isn't it? Sorry, I already started, can't stop. Well, yeah, you opened the can now, so you can't stop. It would be rude not to. I just love Aussies whom can draw unimaginably well. Well, what are you doing here, mate? You gotta find yourself another streamer. Just don't start. I mean, yeah, you could just don't. I mean, I would definitely won't start. I barely drink alcohol because of what it does to me, you know? So, drinking energy drinks is probably not on the cards. I also go to the gym very regularly, so just don't know if I'm cut out for the energy drink life. Just not cool, you know? I'm just not cool enough. I believe that's because I never drank an energy drink either. Yeah. I think that's fair. Sleep can be very hard to control. Honestly. I have insomnia, so, and you may recognize it when we get into winter, and my winter streams start to be like, hey guys, I've slept like 2 hours this week or whatever. Um, and then and that's when you get the really fun Grey Mouse content because I'm just rambling like a lunatic, more so than usual. You'd probably be like me after one where I felt like I was vibrating, wanting to run laps and punch a god in the face or turn into Speedy Gonzalez. Yeah, probably. I'd also probably get heart palpitations and be like, oh, I'm having a heart attack. Mouse, I need your opinion on some of Fallout's DLCs. Shoot, let me know what you need me to talk about. I'm happy to answer Fallout questions. I also never have caffeine, so what the heck is going on with you? It could just be your circadian rhythm is out, and it can be hard to set a sleep routine, especially when your body is so used to the current routine that you have. You have decaf tea very rarely, but I don't drink soda. Okay, no tea or soda, yeah. Because, yeah, there's like a bit of caffeine in tea and soda. Yeah. I do drink coffee. I am an addict to coffee, that's for sure. It's also partly why I don't drink energy drinks because I got so quickly addicted to caffeine that I was just like, if I drink energy drinks, I'm gonna be in real trouble because I'll just never stop. So for most of hold on, sorry, my brain just went. For most of Fallout 3 has great DLCs, but I feel like if I was given a random chance to play any Fallout DLC, I'd be more satisfied if I played New Vegas's DLCs instead of 3. Yeah, that's fair, but I also my position on you know what, you caught me. Posture check. I am currently sitting like a shrimp. I'm leaning forward into the mic. I you got me. You caught me. You caught me with the worst posture I could possibly have, and I actually felt like I'd been caught. um, I was gonna say I feel like with Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, they're almost two completely different beasts. In that people really like Fallout New Vegas is maybe one of the best games ever made, in my opinion. But people also really enjoy Fallout 3. And for the time it was made, it was fantastic. I think a lot of what we criticize about it now is based on newer games where the standard was different, or the standard was higher. That's the Flynn effect, with each passing year, the demand is raised, and therefore the quality of output each year is higher, on average, statistically speaking. Leaning at the mic like it's a good apple. Yeah, pretty much. Like I'm a horse leaning towards an apple, and I've earned it. Like a shrimp leaning towards an apple on a tree. But yeah, and it's why I think criticism of games that were made in early years is not fair. Like a lot of people critique, in terms of Bethesda games, a lot of people critique Oblivion, which was one of my favorite games as a kid. However, the year it came out, it was groundbreaking. It was a groundbreaking game. And I think the same can be said for Fallout 3, and the fact that New Vegas, like, one of the reasons that New Vegas is so good is that it could actually branch out from 3. And I think people don't give it that kind of due process there. In that the only real reason that Fallout New Vegas is so good is because Fallout 3 was really good for its time and that we could grow from it. And Mothership Zeta, I tolerate, because every other alien encounter in the franchise was just, hey, look, there's aliens and that's it. But Mothership Zeta is easily 2 hours long, and it gets to the point of, okay, I get it, aliens exist in Fallout, it's getting stale. Does that make sense? I agree with you, it's too long, and that's a big part of the problem. If it were condensed down to a 1 hour DLC, I think it would be fantastic, because it's got so many good things there. I think what really does ruin it is length. I think Point Lookout is fantastic. Looking on it with hindsight, it's less good, but it is fantastic. It was fantastic for its time. Really compelling narrative with that kind of disturbing uniqueness about it, where everything is really weird, but then it's also still really dangerous, so you can't sit and laugh at things, because those things that you're laughing at can very easily kill you. And I find that really compelling. Yeah, exactly. 3 walked, so New Vegas could sprint. 3 is great. New Vegas is almost perfect, but only because of 3. Yeah, exactly. Not Point Lookout. The Pit. The Pit is one of my favorite DLCs in 3. I'm not going to compare it to New Vegas, because New Vegas' DLCs are incredible. But the Pit is really great, because if you go into it with the intent of being immersed, then you're going to have a really good time. And you're going to feel scared. The Trogs are this really disturbing kind of enemy, because in essence you are having to fight and kill victims of a terrible disease who are too far gone to be saved. And then the cure for this, which I also think not enough people talk about as being, the cure for this zombie-like disease is in the genes of a child. Oh, not child, a baby, which is awfully similar to The Last of Us, but nobody really talks about that, do they? Not that I'm critiquing The Last of Us, because I've never played it, so I have no qualms with it. But also, it's also not fair to be like, oh, they stole that idea. It's a fairly good idea, so it's worth exploring multiple times. But then, yeah, the moral quandary being, do I steal this kid to create a cure for everyone? Or do I leave the kid with the parents and turn on the people that I was trying to save at the start of the DLC? And make them hate me because I've basically just revoked their freedom again. The Pit is amazing. Also, I love the Pit in 3, and Novak in New Vegas only get their name from the lack of seeing the full name from the pre-war. Yeah, I think that's great. It's really good world design, where they just went, yeah, we'll just call it Novak, because it's no vacancy, but it still works. It still works for what we need. And the Pit, yeah, exactly the same, but great. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's unfair to compare it to New Vegas, but I also wouldn't compare it to New Vegas. Comparison does make improvements in games and stuff like that, but even so, Fallout 3 walked so New Vegas could run, as we've said. We love those games. And as a young kid playing 3, it had such an effect on me. New Vegas didn't exist at the time. And 3 had such a profound effect on me, because it was one of the first really strong stories, like narrative stories. You try and find your father, this independence that you've gotten from the wasteland and stuff like that. The world that you're inhabiting is just this bleak hellhole, but there is still good in it. Amazing. Oops, sorry guys, just smacked my mic. Smacked my mic being expressive. Apologies, it won't happen again. Personally, I just don't want to mess up the kid's life. I don't care what the parents want for the kid, aka I'll only keep the kid safe because it's a moral thing. I'm doing it for the parents. Maybe don't be a slaver. Yeah. Oh, I'm not doing it for the parents. Yeah. No, the dad is subjugating these people into slavery. It's fucked up. Though it also kind of is similar to this thought. It's a grim thought, but like the whole New World Order thought that I think I've talked about on stream before. For a moment, I thought you nose planted the mic. Just doof. Sorry, guys. I've really prawned, slammed my face into the mic. Sorry, guys. But like with Frostpunk, the world is in a terrible state. And they're actually dependent on someone to make hard decisions just to keep people alive. And it led me to think about, this whole New World Order. So the New World Order theory that I have about games and certain media, where a lot of people use modern world logic to define apocalyptic morality. And they place modern or real world moral weight on people's actions in apocalypse games and movies and things like that. And it's a very regressive way of looking at things because it refuses to acknowledge the conditions that these people are in. So in Frostpunk, as a really good example, is that you basically form laws and goals and things like that for the community that live around this this great engine, which basically keeps their colony heated in this constant storm, this constant blizzard. And without it, the people will just die because it gets to minus 40 degrees on a good day, essentially. And so you have to make decisions that are morally pretty questionable, including stuff like putting sawdust in soup because that creates, it makes more food for more people. And even though it's not nutritious or nutritionally very rich, it means that more people get to eat. Or if any of you have heard of Frostpunk, then you will have heard of like, oh, I've enacted child labor kind of thing. And so my position on stuff like that is the whole New World Order thing. So the whole perspective of the New World Order theory is that whatever you do to survive is kind of within the bounds of that moral foundation. You got to aim to do the right thing. But if it's to keep you alive and someone's trying to kill you, then you probably are morally okay to kill them and fight back and stuff like that. That's interesting to do. I heard in the Mist movie something to the effect of people are good as long as the lights are kept on and the police pick up the phone. Yeah, essentially. But yeah, it's supposed, and that's why like really good apocalypse games know how to kind of toy with the player in that regard and make them feel iffy about it. So, like, with The Last of Us, spoilers for The Last of Us, of course, but the moral quandary of Joel letting the fireflies cut open Ellie's head and experiment on her to find the cure. He chooses to not let them go through with it. He ends up killing all the doctors in the surgery to save Ellie, or to remove Ellie. Hey, Zariaka, how you doing? What are we drawing? We're drawing the first panel of page 2 of chapter 3. So we're making some good progress. That's sort of like Snowpiercer. Yeah, it's Snowpiercer as well. One kid has to keep the engine running, but the conditions are worse than child labor from the 1850s America. Yeah. And that also is a really good example in that really what Wilfred is doing is the right thing to do. And that's such a grim thing to say because he's a horrible man. But by this world's, like the modern world standards, he's an awful, awful, reprehensible human being. But he's also keeping all of those people alive. And that's kind of what he's being expected to do. They're not living well, but they are alive. And yeah, and hence my New World Order theory is that if you're like, oh, Joel's an awful person because he did this and that, yes, he is. And by the New World Order theory, yeah, he is, because he basically doomed humanity. And then they backed out on it. And spoilers for Last of Us 2, but this is why the writing is so bad in Last of Us 2. They backed out on that. And they tried to redeem Joel. In that they were like, oh, well, they actually didn't, like, the surgeons didn't know what they were doing, so Joel may have done the right thing. They may have just murdered a kid. Or they may have just cut open Ellie's brain and she would have died and they wouldn't have found the cure. And it's like, okay, why'd you do that? We want to feel this moral quibble and moral uncertainty with Joel as a character. Come on. It's like judging the past. Can I, as a fan of history, say the Romans were good? No, definitely not. But they did make a lot of stuff that we still use today. Yeah. Mouse in media like Snowpiercer, isn't the good guy often just fucking everyone over because the tyrant deserves it? Like, yes, the tyrant deserves to die, but we just killed everybody? Yeah, I mean, Snowpiercer does that. In Snowpiercer, what's his character's name? I don't want to just say Chris Evans. But Chris Evans' character, Curtis Everett, he murders everybody because he doesn't want to become the new Wilfred. If anything, he actually does the worst possible thing he could do for humanity. He dooms humanity. Didn't know that about The Last of Us 2. Guess it's another reason for you to never play it. Yeah, so from what I've heard, so don't take me as fact. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But I've heard apparently there's like a journal or a note in it in which it's explained by like the Fireflies. So it's supposed to be like a very reputable source on this moral quandary that the doctors actually didn't know what they were doing. And that if they had actually conducted surgery and Joel hadn't stopped them, Ellie would have died and there wouldn't have been a cure. So they vindicate him for his actions and thus diminish the deaths that he caused. Diminish the effect of the death that he caused, thus undercutting the ending of the ending of Dark Souls 2, the ending of The Last of Us. Which is such a cruel thing to do, writing-wise, because it's like you actually take away something that made your character incredibly compelling. In that they weren't a good person, and they made a very selfish decision that may have doomed humanity, but we will never know if he did or if he didn't. And now we know that he didn't. He just murdered a bunch of people who were trying to do the right thing, but may have not been very good at it. Which is kind of fucked. Either way. What else? A lot of Mad Max is also like that, in that I think Fury Road is a nice kind of exception in that, you know, if you have a fully actualized world where, you know, Immortum Joe has all the water and he's just withholding it from everyone, and he is the bad guy, but he is the tyrant in the world, withholding the water from people so that he can have it all, and then basically have a monopoly on power in the wasteland. Sure, he kind of deserved to die, and the world is a better place without him in it, because he was a cruel and unjust warlord. And that's what makes Mad Max so compelling, is that the world has enough space to actually have that morality and have that morality questioned. And they portray the evil people very well in Snowpiercer. The antagonists are posh, extremely fancy, smoke their expensive cigarettes on their leather couches as they eat sushi served to them by a professional butler, and we often see those people as evil. But as you said, Curtis just killed everyone. Yeah. Yeah, and it is, so Snowpiercer is an allegory for the current, social hierarchy. And if you use it as an allegory, then it's very fascinating, because in essence, we still would side with Curtis, in that the wealthy are hoarding resources and trying to make it seem like it's the poorer people's fault that there aren't enough resources for everyone, but they're lounging about enjoying. And that essentially is kind of the message, in that Curtis definitely shouldn't have killed everybody, but the wealthy also shouldn't have hoarded all the resources for themselves, because they were afraid of maybe potentially going a little hungry sometimes. Not to mention, Immortum Joe forced himself on his wives, and that's how they get pregnant. Yeah, that's pretty fucking awful. Yeah. I mean, writing-wise, it's a very easy way to make a character just understandably evil, is if they're like that. I myself dislike that kind of character trope, for lack of a better word, but I do also understand how effective it is. To be completely honest, though, I'm sure it's obvious, I was with Curtis for 80% of the movie. Yeah, well, you're supposed to be. It's how a compelling and likable character is written, you know? They're made to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Relatable. He's an underdog. He's trying to fight for, like, his intentions are honest and good. His results aren't, is the problem. Could it be Immortum Joe is detestable? Yeah, he's supposed to be. It is the intention, of course. As you understand. You don't want a villain who is too likable. Otherwise, you risk alienating the audience from your protagonist. Yeah, I can't deny it made Immortum Joe's fate pretty satisfying. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. That catharsis of seeing a character you detest die. It's great. And it's what's so rewarding for a viewer to have a villain that you like. Have a villain that you dislike, sorry, not like. Thank you, Mouse. Actually forgot what detestable meant. You know what it is. You know what it meant. You use it very accurately. You don't need to thank me for that. You got it right. Personally, I do like the villains who think, well, okay, you're not wrong. You're just pushing your motives the wrong way. Yeah, absolutely. They are compelling characters. The characters who have understandable morals or goals, but just go about it in a way that is not ideal or is wrong. You know, it's just like, oh, I hate, the criminals of the world, or the fact that crime is left to run rampant, so I'm gonna kill all the criminals. It's like, oh, okay, I kind of understood where you're coming from at first. Now I'm concerned, you know? Or someone who's just like, after my parents were killed by a bunch of by someone who robbed them, I'm gonna make sure that I go out at night and beat the shit out of all of these villains that I see on the streets, and not implement any kind of crime prevention initiatives, because I have a shit ton of money that I could absolutely invest in initiatives to help reduce crime and help reduce the possibility of crime in my neighborhood and my city. Instead, I'm gonna dress as a bat and beat the fuck out of people. Which isn't fair, because he does actually do that. Batman actually does implement change, like, through his finances. But I love to just say that, because I love to just be a shit stirrer. I think Caesar or Caesar in New Vegas says that drugs are only illegal in the Legion because it clouds your judgment, but I've never done a Legion playthrough, so I'm not sure if that's true. But if that's the reason, then it's interesting. I think so. I think he does actually say that, because you can question him on why he has drugs, and then that slowly reveals that the tumor in his brain, or the fact that he has a tumor in his brain. I mean, he probably simply does enjoy beating the shit out of people a little too. Oh yeah, that's involved. That's definitely involved, Gally. I'm sure. I'm sure it is, right? Man dresses as a giant bat, beats the shit out of criminals, like one dressed as a penguin, or one who says his name is the penguin, and a little nerd who just makes riddles and also murders people, of course. Who's truly the crazy person here? That being said, I freaking love the Arkham games. They're so good. That being said, when I am Batman, I do be beating up villains and having fun. I mean, definitely does in the most recent movie. Yes. Yeah, that's true. He loves it. He's like, oh yeah. Fuck yeah, I'm gonna clip this guy with my car. And then I'm gonna beat him up because he was jaywalking. Gotham. Oh no, that was the Christian Bale one, wasn't it? He's like, justice. I'm justice. And stuff like that. I've only seen a bit of it. As you could tell, by the way, I'm just being a dingus about it. and who has also spread like 1,000 Riddler trophies in the 4 Arkham games for us to collect, but dread the thought of doing. Yeah, I got all of them in Asylum, but there were just too many. Too many by city. Just too much. The one guy ate that baseball bat like a hot dog. I love that scene. Oh, yeah. I do know of that. Man, some of the Batman stuff is just good content. Just good entertainment. Love the Arkham games because, like, for one, the fact that the animated series is Batman and Joker voice the Batman and Joker in them, and also the fact that um, that the Joker is voiced by Mark Hamill, which is incredible, and he's incredible at it. He basically revolutionized the Joker, and the way the Joker is, like the way the Joker talks, is guided by Luke Skywalker, of all people, is so incredible. You need to play those. Oh, I recommend them like 300%. They are some of my favorite games of all time. They are so good. They got me into comic books. So if anything, you can thank the Arkham games for Rat Baby. You love the animated show as a kid. I'll always miss that version of Batman and Joker. Hey, well you get them in Arkham. They are voiced by the same people and fairly similar to the animated series. I think there are a few changes because the Arkham games are for adults. So there's a lot more violence and a lot less sugarcoating of violence. But I understand why Mark Hamill feels it best to retire from it now. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, he's done an amazing job, and I think the Joker role is safe with the people who have taken it on from there. I think Troy Baker has done a really good Joker in Arkham Origins. Arkham Origins isn't the best of them. It's not great. Uh, it's because it's also made by a different studio, so it wasn't going to be very good. Um, but he does a very good job as Joker, and he pays a lot of respect to the character. I'm trying to think of other people who have voiced Joker who are very good. There are a few. I've watched the Lego Batman movie and I didn't care for it. But that's because I'm just a big die-hard Batman fan. Um, who likes the grimness of like the Arkham games more so than the kind of campy Adam West stuff that is very in the Lego movie. Can't say I've watched the Lego movies. I have watched the Lego Batman movie, but that's about it. It's not my jam. They're not my thing. But I'm also a 25-year-old man, so they're not meant to be, and I can respect that. I'm not just gonna get angry on the internet because because a, a kids movie doesn't feel cathartic to me. I mean, the campiness can be funny, but the root of it, I admit, I'm drawn to the tragedy of Batman. That's fair. I'll be right back. I'm gonna get some more water. Apologies for that, gang. My voice just went. So it's clear where your preferences lie. Yeah, I love the tragedy of Batman. Some of my favorite Batman comics are Hush. If you've heard of Hush, then you know like that's one of the most popular modern Batman comics. It's fantastic. I also really like the New 52 comics, which are quite a bit less popular. But they kind of really get the grittiness of Batman and the grittiness of the world. There's also Arkham comics as well. So there are a bunch of Batman Arkham comics, which I haven't read, but I know they're good. There's also an Injustice comic, which I've heard is good too. Or a Batman Injustice comic, which is pretty good. But with that said, I just realized I have read the Arkham City Batman comic, which is really interesting because it's not a comic that is based on what happens in Arkham City. I mean, it has a little bit of that, but it is actually it's more like akin to supplementary material to the game. So if you read this, you have a better understanding of the events leading up to Arkham City and then the events within it as well, which is I find very fascinating and very compelling story-wise. You need to up your comic game. I'm happy to provide recommendations for sure. I fucking love comics. And if you're here looking at Ratchet and the Beanstalk Brigade, then I'm always happy to provide you with my influences and things like that. But yeah, I love comics, and the Batman comics were my first real step into comics. Prior to that, I had always liked the idea of comics, but never got to read any. Because I was a little kid. I was a little bean, a little mouse. Had no money to buy comics. So, yeah. But now I can buy all the comics I like. I bought a bunch of manga today. Which aren't comics, but they're kind of Japanese comics in a sense. But I do also buy a lot of comics too. I was using Invincible as a reference to understanding comic formats, and that's why you'll notice that from chapter 1 to chapter 2 to now chapter 3, the comic like layout is very different. And has rapidly changed, but in a positive way, because it's easier to read and not quite as cluttered. Small bean. Yes. Once upon a time, I was a small mouse. Unable to buy comics. And only just able to draw. Now I am a big mouse. Able to buy comics, and still only just able to draw. Getting famous by talking about pooping myself. Something small grey would have never dreamed of. Actually, probably not. I was thinking about this recently where I was just like, there's a lot of things I did as a kid that I'm embarrassed about now. But then I also realized that now I talk about shitting myself on the internet, so really I'm throwing stones in glass houses. Because, like, let's be honest, I'm worse than anything I could have done as a kid. I mean, not that much worse, but embarrassment-wise, yeah, defo. Oh my god, no, I somehow managed to forget what's that's what I joined the stream during, and you reminded me. Oh, the pooping. Hey, can't be helped. I talk about pooping all the time. I also just realized that it's almost 3 hours, so I should probably get out of here. Should probably raid and run. Let me just draw a little bit of, because we're actually getting out of the forest soon. So I want to just add a marker. Mice poop too much. True. I mean, me, yes. I poop a lot, but it's because I drink a lot of coffee. And no, that's it. That's it. It's just because I drink a lot of coffee. I make big poops. I make big business deals. But by business deals, I mean poop. Yeah, no. That's not ominous. That looks good. That looks good and not ominous. Yeah. Whoa. I like how adulthood is basically now you can buy comics and slightly bigger. That's it. That's adulthood. Still talking about poop, but now on the internet. Essentially, yeah. I didn't change much. Just not even really height. I've been like the same height for I've been the same height for like since year 7. For a second I thought the thing in the background was flipping us off. It is. That's exactly what I made it do. Yeah. It looks like a minion giving us the finger. Or holding a penis. Oh, okay, good. Yeah, you're not going crazy. Your eyes are not deceiving you. That is a middle finger. Does not belong in this comic, though. Don't bring penis into this. Oh, yeah, no, I'm just incorrigible. Incorrigible about all the filthy jokes and humor. Friggin' pooper. It's me, Poop Mouse. I make poos and then talk about anime. Hi, welcome to Grey Mouse Inc.'s channel, where we talk about poop and also anime. And other things, but mostly the poop thing. So glad to have you. Like, that's like essentially the bread and butter of my streams. Poop on one hand, anime, manga, comic books the other, and video games. You saying you've been the same height a while makes me wonder if you is short mouse. Yeah, I'm pretty short. I'm a pretty short mouse, you know? You could say that. I think you could say that. It's safe to say I'm pretty short. I got that small mouse syndrome, which makes me angry at people taller than me. A very angry mouse about people who are taller than me. Sorry, just joking about it. No, I'm actually not that short, as it turns out. I've talked about this before, so I'm not actually doxing myself or revealing anything like I'm not actually a mouse. I'm 6'2", but I've been 6'2" since year 7. So, how old are you in year 7? Like 13? I have no idea. But in year 7, I had my growth spurt. I was probably about 13, actually, because that's when you have a growth spurt. Yeah. Or you're supposed to have a growth spurt at 13 or 15, I think. In between 13 and 15 when you go through puberty. But when I was 13, I had a huge growth spurt, and I was 6'1". All the way up until year 11, and then through year 11 and year 12, I got to 6'2". I've been 5'8" for a while. It happens, you know, height is just a thing. Height is just height, you know? It's no biggie. I had no choice. As soon as I got to, like, my 13th birthday, I was 6 foot, at least. And then, They put me in basketball and all those things because I was tall, but young. Height isn't really doxing, basically. Know nothing else about each other except beardies. Oh, and pooping. Frog help us. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's also like not a big reveal as well, I think. I always kind of worry that if I say something like, oh, about my height or about anything like that, it's going to be this reveal that people are like, wait, what? You've been lying to us. And I don't want to do that. Because the truth is, if I've forgotten to tell somebody something that's important, it's because I've forgotten. Because I'm not a deeply intelligent being. You can reach the top cabinet, go play basketball. Essentially, that was what it was. And my mum realized that she couldn't really shout at me anymore because I was too tall. Which means I was able to defend myself. Were you good? Yeah, I was pretty good. I was pretty good, but I also didn't care for team sports because people annoy me. uh, no, correction. Incompetent people annoy me. And when you're at that age, everyone is kind of incompetent, you know? You're always kind of annoyed at everyone, I think. And then I also just stopped enjoying... Yeah, I stopped enjoying team sports, so I stopped doing team sports. And then I did rock climbing instead. But I'm still afraid of heights, so I did bouldering instead of that, and that was great. Shout like normal shouting or butt head shouting? Just normal shouting. Yeah. No, my mum wouldn't shout at us without good reason. Because the idea someone would change their behavior because someone grew some inches is kind of funny. Yeah. I mean, it just didn't have the same effect, I guess, because I wasn't little anymore. I was no longer a little bean. I was a long bean. A long lima bean, essentially. Anyway, I should probably raid, because it's been 3 hours. That's usually my limit. In future, string bean. String bean! You're right. I would be a string bean. Most people don't like lima beans. That's true and fair. Usually tomorrow, on these weeks, so every second week, starting like with tomorrow next week, I would usually stream all day. I'm not going to do that because I'm still getting back into streaming. So I will be back tomorrow, but in the evenings, or early mornings, as some of you are coming to learn. I'll put the raid message in now, but we'll now decide who we're raiding to. Orpa is playing Spider-Man 2. Frosty is playing Minecraft. Who do we want to raid? Oh, and Lumen is playing Tekken. I think... Oh, and Nevi. Nevi is doing art. It's been a while since I've seen the Nevs. Those are both sub-raid messages, aren't they? No, so the bottom one is... Hold on. Wait, hold on. Let me check. Is the bottom one. You've just given me conniptions. Let me check. Viewer rewards. Emotes. No, so the unsubbed one is for followers. So if you're following, then you can have access to the unsubbed emotes. The subbed raid message is the one with the animation, and that's just for people who are subbed. Now, with that all said, let's actually raid. I'm gonna raid into my boy Frosty. But follow emotes don't work in other streams, do they? They do not. I am a fool. I am a fool. You are correct. They do not work. Oh man. That's why they don't work. Thank you, I've learned. Anyway, let's raid. Let's go raid. I'll be back tomorrow. Thank you all so much for being here. I will see you all then. But until then, catch you next time.